Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sound Underground at Heid Music. I'm Jonathan Leahy, and with me is our president, Dee Dee Heid. And we are very excited to introduce you to our guests today, the band Melodia out of the Fox Cities. And we've got Sofie, Ben, and Edson here to talk with us about music and anything else that comes up today. Good morning. Thanks for being here bright and early, guys.
Yeah.
We've been chatting a little bit already off camera, but let's kind of recycle a little bit. How did you guys all meet and start playing music together?
So about a year and a half ago, we met through work, and then we started playing music together outside of work. Kind of got to a point where neither of us could really sing, but we could play instruments. And we were just jamming a lot, so we were like, okay, if we want to actually do something with this, we should maybe find someone else. And so we started going to open mics, and we ended up at the one at New Moon in Oshkosh, and we saw Sofie go up, and we were like, we got to talk to her. And about like 2 weeks later, got practice going and been rolling ever since.
Yeah.
So the musical duties so far in the group are, Edson, you play drums?
Yes.
Ben?
Guitar and bass.
Okay, guitar and bass. And Sofie, I see
Sing,
guitar.
play guitar, bass occasionally.
Okay, so some shared responsibilities and different instruments. Yep. Are these the instruments you've always played? How did you get into playing music?
Well, for me, I don't know. I started playing guitar during COVID, so that was a big deal for me. Because before that, I played clarinet. During COVID, I was just looking for a hobby or something to do, And my whole family, we had kind of just all got into guitar at the same time, and my dad started bringing home acoustics, and we were all just learning together at the same time. And then also during that time I started learning to write music and started writing my own songs. And I was kind of gatekeeping that for a while because I don't know, I wasn't ready to share them yet, but it felt so good when I did. And
I gotta be honest, that's annoyingly impressive given the timeline you just said of, I started playing during COVID, and because having heard some of the stuff you guys do and some of the stuff you've put out solo, even just some of the things on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Thank you.
Sofie, when you said you were also working on your songwriting in the midst of COVID and how you learned, how did you learn? What did you use for inspiration?
I can't really, it's hard to say. I feel like most of it just kind of came to me on my own, but I had my music inspiration, and I read this book by Jeff Tweedy, How to Write One Song. That was also kind of inspirational for me, and I felt like I just kind of tried it one day. I remember when I was playing, I also used to play ukulele. I tried to write songs on that too, and I was like, oh man, these just aren't great, and I just kind of doubted myself. And then I tried again, and I just felt like I had more things to write about, and the lyrics just came naturally to me. Yeah.
And a book, it sounds like anybody who's wanting to think about songwriting should get.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when that process kind of comes together with the three of you. Mm-hmm. What does that end up looking like? Is there musical sketches that are kind of brought to the table first, or do you come in with a riff? Do you come in with a melody? Are there lyrical ideas that everybody kicks around?
So I feel like it varies. Sometimes I'll have something that I've been working on. I'm hey guys, I have this. Let's see if we can do something with it. Or we'll just work together on it and see if we get something out of it. And then other times, Ben will have a riff or something, and we'll play it together and run through it. And then I'll kind of think on it for a couple weeks and come back with lyrics. Yeah, so it just kind of comes together on its own.
More questions on that. Yeah. So with the idea of, what does a rehearsal look like for you guys as far as an itinerary of what are we working on? And even if you're taking a song that is still in process and building on it and coming back to it, what does the coming back to it look like? Do you chart things out? Do you kind of record rehearsals with just, something rough, simple? How do you kind of keep stuff in progress anchored and black and white instead of, hey, do you remember how we did that last week? I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. And then we do track some stuff. We have a couple songs that are mixed and whatnot. But yeah, a lot of times it's just we have a lot of like recordings on our phone that we'll generally use. We'll run through the set, record it, and then listen back to it, see what works, see what doesn't. But yeah, it's just a lot of messing around until something kind of sounds good. Like a lot of times, I know specifically we've had songs in the past that we haven't been a fan of when we wrote them, but then we come back to them and they're like, oh, there's actually something there. So then we'll kind of double down on it and actually make something out of it.
So I think we have a lot of recordings of when you and me were playing in the basement that you brought back because we're like, oh, those were really bad. And then now it's like, okay,
we would
actually
play
some
for
of those do work.
Yeah, we would play for like hours and then just have the camera rolling the whole time just in case something happened. And yeah, going back on those tapes now, I mean, there's a lot of crap in there, but there's also some good stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of voice memos I've got just keep scrolling. There's so many. Like, yeah, we try to record most of the stuff. Or I have a couple recordings that we have done like for every practice, so.
I think we technically only have like 2 songs that are like mixed, but it's just me messing with it in like FL. So
Where do you guys practice usually?
my place, a small little, probably like maybe a little smaller than this, but it's like the kit, my desk that she stands, and then he stands by like the door and has to let my dog out each time. Usually limited because it's in apartments, so we try
Happy
to
neighbors?
Yes, luckily yes, very very thankful for them.
Can we go back? So one, tell us your band name, the selection choice for that.
Just tell them the first one.
Yeah, that happened for a while. We were when we were just playing together, we called it Seat Yourselves because we were at a restaurant and we saw a sign that said "Seat Yourselves," and we're like, that
Very
sounds
original.
kinda cool. Yeah, very original. And we brought her in, and then we had a couple name changes, and they were just none of them just felt right to say.
I remember it was 3 a.m. and I was laying on your floor in the kitchen, and you're like, and that's when I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was you or her,
I think it was her.
but it was the Transcendence at first.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a leftover.
Yes,
hint
we
of
forgot we left that in there.
Yeah.
We forgot to
Yeah.
get rid of that. But that was the first
over there.
name, and we are kind of just pondering for a couple of weeks, and we're just sitting on it like, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. We weren't trying to force it too much, and then we're just kind of writing out lists of names we like or weird things that we like.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of random words, basically.
Yeah. And then I think we had like a couple maybe 3 options that were kind of like going
We
between.
have the note list still.
Yeah, we
of
still
all
have the
other
list.
names.
I don't know how we like officially decided on. So yeah, our band name's Melodia, which means a melody in Greek, which I think is pretty cool. And then we're just like, let's just hold on a minute. Like, let's not like officially decide until like a week later because we want to make sure like this is it, you know. And then we all just like sat on it and like we came back and we're like, yeah,
Still worked, yeah.
it still works. Melodia.
Nice.
So Melodia it is.
And maybe some of those others will be great songs
Yeah.
that you could have. See yourself. I feel
Right.
like it's going to be coming.
Next
The
hit.
Transcendence.
Album title.
Transcendence, yes. Yeah.
Either way, that list is going to be a great piece of like back album artwork.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And to back it all the way through, you said you met at work, right? And then just decided to make music together. Because I think that's an interesting thing where people might have things that are hobbies or interests, but then how we can almost find our group, our people through having that conversation and then being okay to not have fear, right? Be vulnerable to say, could we try this? How did that kind of conversation really take
I actually
place?
do remember. I was
I
playing,
remember too,
I was
yeah.
playing bass a lot at my house, and I got really bored because I was like, I just want to play with somebody. And then I remembered that he played. So I think I went up to her randomly and started asking. I was like, you just want to like play or something? So we played in his basement. And then it turned into his roommate getting a drum kit. And I ended up going to, I think, playing the drums instead because we wanted to have a solid drum at least.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of stuck to the drums from there just because a little easier. But I remember that actually.
Yeah, I didn't even know you played music when we first met. And then you just like, you started coming up to me and asking me stuff. And I was like, wait.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Jeff Tweedy book,
Yeah.
and that kind of connects to who are some influences for each of you individually and collectively.
I love Wilco. I love Jeff Tweedy. I'm the biggest fan of Nora Jones. I love her so much. I'm also like a big oldies girl. Like I listen to a lot of like old jazz, Billie Holiday, Nat King Cole. I love Ray Charles. But yeah, I mean, I listen to some more modern stuff, but like I dig the old stuff more.
When I was a kid, I was really into Green Day. That was my thing. Moving a little bit more into life, I started getting into like a lot more oldies as well, like 80s metal and stuff like that. I do like Norah Jones a lot. It kind of just goes all over the place. My grandma showed me a lot of Josh Groban back in the day, and I was a huge fan of that. A little different from Green Day, but still good.
The soundbite right there is Josh Groban. A little different from Green Day, but still good. A little bit. That belongs on a
Like
Josh
a
Groban
mashup?
poster.
Yeah.
My dad is the one who really made me start listening to music. It was a lot of like Spanish oldies, like 70s, 60s. So it's like the only one I remember like specifically is Los Pasteles Verdes, if I remember. But just a lot of like older stuff. And then trying to hear that now modern, like Chicano Batman's also a really good one that I like love listening to. Los Retros is also a really good one that kind of like I just kept pushing me to play. A lot of old Spanish sounding music is what I really enjoy, and it's kind of just pushing me to play.
And have you all brought any of those types of stylings into Melodia yet? Or is that things to come?
Not really yet. I feel like we're still also kind of trying to find our sound, you know? I mean, we have like a nice little variety of sounds going on right now.
Yeah,
I feel
because
like
we go from like R&B-ish and there's blues and just kind of like figuring it out, but it's fun because we can try to attempt to play other things, which don't make it so like feel like one path.
Yeah. And I don't know, sometimes it's kind of fun to have that variety too. I feel like
You feel a crowd out when you play, let's play this instead.
Not many people are expecting it either. Like, I mean, we've only done a couple of performances here and there, but I feel like it's fun to have that variety.
Well, and clearly the shows are going well. The whole reason we reached out to you guys is actually because a coworker, who's not here today, a coworker up in our e-commerce department was at one of your 602 shows.
Oh, okay.
And
I knew it.
and like would not stop.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Was very adamant that it's like, oh, we need to contact these guys. Yeah,
Aw, that's cool.
Yeah. So
That's really cool.
So Carter, you have a fan.
Aw, nice. Aw.
And hopefully more after today.
Yeah. Thanks, Carter. Shout out, Carter.
But speaking of that and fans and recording and distributing and like finding sound, have you guys started kicking around ideas and discussing like, besides shows, how do we share this? How do we find people who are looking for this?
Well, obviously, we want to up our social media game. We want to get a few more accounts out there. We're looking to hopefully record something soon. That would be a huge deal for us to be able to record most of our stuff so we can actually have people listen to it.
I have a bunch of gear to record, but I'm not good at mixing. So we have, I think, 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah.
But they'll clip at some point or some sound super muddy and I'm just trying to like play around with it. So like trying to learn on that end as well. But also at the same time, it would be nice just to like get a recording and just be like, okay, I just have to play and just worry about that instead of trying to mix everything.
So in other words, so that's definitely something that like is not on like the checklist of, at least at this moment, we're not aspiring to build our own in-house production studio and do the back end technical stuff ourselves. We'd like to play. We'd like to write.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
let somebody else do the mouse clicking and the.
That would be ideal because I know a lot of work goes into that also, and I'm not that techie. Like I don't know all that stuff either. So.
Well, I think all things in stride, right? So I think as you're continuing to work together to find your voice, find what are the different things that inspire each of you, you're also continuing to learn really cool things about one another as we've gathered here today, right? So you never know where you might be at a show and there'll be someone else that you touch them in a way that they have tools and resources to help you with that too. So I think just being open, right, to saying we want to look at these things, we want to keep working on the way that we work together, our songwriting, our playing, and when you're out and about, I think keep an open mind because you never know, right, what door might each open through those. So we're pretty fortunate here, even in the Valley, of tools and resources, and I think even on the heels of a Mile of Music, right, that as that comes to the Valley in August, and how that has such a wide span of reach, you never know where you might find additional resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we did touch on at the very beginning, Sofie, that, right, you played clarinet in high school. We're going to come back to that. And
Yes.
ukulele, electric guitar, acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we talked a little bit, but not in depth. What are all of your instruments and musical accolades?
In middle school, that was the first time I ever picked up an instrument, and I played the oboe. I remember distinctly, like, I was like, this name sounds funny, I'm going to play this. And I played it for a couple of years, and I didn't really like it anymore. I got my mom to buy me a guitar, and it's just been running ever since. Mixing in, like, bass and whatever other stringed instruments I can find here and there. A little bit of ukulele, acoustic guitar, stuff like that, so...
So oboe was your gateway.
That was my gateway,
into music. Awesome. Fantastic. Who knew?
Here.
All right. And for you?
I started with trombone in middle school, and then I had a buddy who's percussionist. So then I ended up just kind of like shifting that way instead. And then just kind of from there, I had a lot of family who were DJs. So electronic music caught my attention a lot more. I got a bass guitar from my dad, and then just kind of started playing from there. Stuck to bass pretty much. The drums just came back after a point just because it was like, oh, this is fun. I remember playing this in middle school and just kind of reignited that.
That sounds like solid ingredients for a good rhythm section to me. So, speaking of the instruments that you all play, of all the instruments you own, you're trapped on a desert island. What's the one that's with you?
I feel like for me, probably have to be my acoustic. Because that was like my first guitar. I love that thing. And I feel like I usually write on my acoustic first, and then I bring it to the electric. So, I mean, if I were on an island, I wouldn't have an amp.
That's an excellent point.
Electric. But if there was,
My favorite instrument in the world, I have a 77 Ibanez Les Paul Lawsuit. I didn't bring it today, unfortunately, but that's my favorite guitar in the world. I'd probably still bring it to the island, even if there wasn't an amp on there. But yeah, it's just been a solid workhorse.
Please stop by with that sometime.
Yeah, definitely. It needs a nut, so I might have to bring it in.
Excellent. We have a marvelous technician up in our Green Bay shop, Matt Hayes, and
Nice.
we'll get it playing beautifully.
Awesome.
Hopefully, that's a nice guitar. They just destroyed it.
It was in rough shape when I got it, and then I continued to break. I've had it for like 12 years, so I've continued to just break it a little bit over the years. But
We all
Give
have
it love.
oh yeah, it's got some relic on it.
well
so,
played. Yes,
yeah.
some relic.
I think just the Strat, to be honest, honestly, everything's electric, so it wouldn't work on the island. So I would say the Strat would be like a safe bet. I'm just gonna say Strat. That's gonna be a simple choice. Not too much in depth like you guys.
You might have to change from the desert to
gonna say,
isolation.
Yeah. In a bunker. You have electricity.
It's got to be an outlet.
Because even the drum kit I have is electric too, so it'll work either.
I like those answers. Especially excited to see that Lawsuit era guitar.
Oh yeah, I'll have to show you some pictures.
I think probably weighs like 11 pounds.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's just a big lug, but I love it. The weight's what makes it great,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So while John's seeing the next one that he wants to ask, Sofie, when we also had a point, we talked about what else you're studying and doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, right now I'm going to school for baking and pastry management, working on my associate's degree at the Fox Valley Tech. I'm graduating this May. I really love baking. It was a passion of mine as a kid. Yeah, music has also always been a part of that too.
I feel like it'll be interesting how they can come together, right?
Oh, she makes really good cheesecake. I just remember that. That was good cheesecake.
Yeah, sometimes I'll bring something to practice.
And you also, what else did you brag about of her baking? Not just the cheesecake.
Oh, her macaroons.
Macarons.
Macarons. Sorry, macarons. Those are very good. Oh, after that day, my stomach just hurt so bad.
Because you were like, I needed all of them, or what? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you just made them just on the table. So I was like, all right, I just might as well just eat them real
Just
quick.
popping them.
That's a good rehearsal problem to have.
Right? I know. It might
Practice
be some
harder. Do you have advice for other young players? Any experiences that are worth kind of, hey, this is something I learned, maybe the hard way, that not everybody needs to learn the hard way. Let's put it out there into the digital record and make, let somebody learn from my experience. What do you got?
Well, first thing that came to mind for me when you said that. Well, I guess before I met these guys, I was obviously playing solo, and I was playing at open mics. I guess, like, for me, like, I just remember going to the first one. I just wanted to check it out because I just feel like I need to start playing and, like, putting my music out there, and because I was kind of more shy about it. And yeah, and then, like, I eventually shared with my family these songs, and they're like, oh my God, like, where'd this come from? Like, I guess my biggest advice would be, like, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, you know, just let yourself show people, like, what you've got, and don't be afraid to do that. Because I was super nervous. Like, I ended up going to open mic at New Moon in Oshkosh, and I was just gonna sit there and just, like, watch for the first day and be like, yeah, let's see what this is about and see if this is something I want to do. I ended up getting inspired to go up there because of a few other people that played before me, and I'm like, I should really just do this. And I brought my guitar just in case. I just left it in the car, and then there was, like, maybe 10 minutes left before they were gonna wrap up the night, and I just went up there and I was like, is there still time? Like, I kind of want to do this. And they're like, yeah, we still got 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I ran out and got my guitar and then wrote my name on the little sheet, and I went up there, and it felt amazing, just, like, release that and, like, finally be able to share that. And then I kept going every week, and then eventually met these guys, and I'm so grateful for that. If I would have never done that, like, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So it's really cool.
As far as advice, I would say mine's a little bit less sentimental. I would say learn theory. It doesn't have to be hard. I'm still struggling with that because I went to a guitar teacher and I was just like, I want to play this song. And then he's like, we're going to play this song. And then we just never learned anything else, which completely my fault. So looking back, I would say definitely learn basic theory, practice your scales, and just keep playing no matter what. And then I would say just playing with people. Playing with people almost always makes you better. I was in a group in high school for a really long time, and I got really dialed in when I played with those guys, and I feel like right now I'm playing probably one of the best I've ever played with these guys, so kind of just allows you to explore your own kind of sound a little bit more when you mix it with other people.
I just have fun with it, just because, I mean, I just buy a bunch of random instruments, you know that, so it's like,
that's true.
Whenever I feel like playing something, I just want to have fun with it, and either play along to, like, a song or just to enjoy it pretty much. I don't do it just for, like, I don't want to make it to have it feel like a task. I don't want to have, like, actually just fun with it.
Well, I think you each have really cool paths with it, right? Meaning that it can fill your cup in different ways based on what you're looking for and what you may need and how your brains are wired. And it's also why you can be a really good symbiotic group together, is because you all do come at it with your unique skill sets and talents and viewpoints, which then can make you stronger. Mm-hmm. So I think it's finding the ways and not being afraid to try something new or go out there or meet new people and look to make the music together. But ultimately, got to kind of have some kind of a plan to it. And what's your foundation? So you need somebody in the group that wants to kind of do that. Somebody that wants to kind of help to, like, bring the spirit. One that feeds the soul and the being in many multiple ways, right? Yeah. Good macarons, or how are you saying it, really? And that. So seems like you guys have the right recipe for success in multiple ways. Don't you think, John?
Oh yeah. I mean, the three things you all just said is, like, really very much like kind of a trifecta of why make music. Explore vulnerability, introspection, add to your skills and learn things and develop that depth of your understanding of stuff, and have fun, joy. That's why we do this. So, like, that's like that could not have been a more well-rounded set of answers. Now that we have this, now that you said this wonderful, like, insightful thing, I'm gonna put you on the spot, specifically within music. What's your hot take that you'll die on this hill defending?
Man,
That's a good
it's
question.
a great question.
Dee, what's yours?
For me, I guess, and my passion within the industry would be that we need to make sure that there's access and opportunity for all things with music. And I also would say with that I think too many times people shut it down, not understanding that it has more connectivity and opportunity for how we can unify. Does that make sense? I think that sometimes it seems that you start to talk about things that are in the creative fields, right, to people that don't understand it. They think they don't understand it, but somewhere if they'd actually leave their body, soul, and mind more open to it, they'll see how it can unify and connect. So I think that my thing that I would die defending is that in order to have a really great community and sense of well-being, we need music and the arts to make our community, our lives better.
That's very nice.
I'm not sure if that's what
I like
we're
that.
looking for.
No, I like that. That's,
I think that we need to have it in. I think to your point, so you talked about music that can bring you joy and inspiration, right? That might be with Nora Jones
Yes.
or different things with jazz. I have a thread with my kids, right? And they are at different ages, 6th grade, junior high school, and a sophomore. And for me, Tuesdays is Tunes on Tuesdays. But I'm always looking for music to share with them that can lift them or have them feel like no matter what happens, they've got it. So I'm using it in different ways to help to inspire them and create our own kind of Fam Bam Spotify soundtrack, if you will, so that no matter what happens, they can dig back in and deep and find something to lift them and inspire them in different ways. And music has that power.
It's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So if you got a song for me to add to that, let me know. Especially when you're talking to somebody from 12 to 19, right? And what are you going through in life? And
I think I have one now. I feel like for me, my hot take is that I really do feel like anybody can be creative with music. Like, I know some, or like even singing. Like, I feel like people are always like, yeah, I can't sing. Like, I could never learn to play an instrument. Like, I really do feel like anybody has the ability to do that. It's really just like putting in the effort and practice, kind of like what Ben was saying, like just working at it. I have a couple friends that have like asked me like, oh, I really want to learn how to play guitar or whatever, but I just don't know how, and I don't think I'd be good at it. I just like try to encourage them, and I'll show them a couple of things, and then they'll get really into it and be like, oh, that's so cool. Like, so I don't know, I really do feel like anybody can do that. That's my hot take.
that's a great one.
Do you have one?
I don't feel like there should be an ego in music because then I feel like this just drives people away. Like, how is that going to help new people find love in music? So I feel like just having an ego in music is kind of like, it's pointless just because anybody can be good at something, but.
Kind of going off of what Sophie said, I think like hard work is better than talent in some ways. Whereas like it might not happen as naturally for you, but if you keep working at it, you can make some entity flow of some kind.
well, and I think you all are using it as a career opportunity in multiple ways, right? Do gigs and maybe, but you're also doing it because you love being together and the social aspects and how you're writing and releasing. And so I think finding that music can be there in multiple ways, right? You don't always have to get on the stage to do it, but how could you be doing something in your living room and have comfort and have fun? You all are very brave, I think, to find that. And I love that you've had different aspects of where you played. Back to the oboe, right? And school music shout outs and teachers that can inspire.
Yes.
And families, you all also brought up your families and how instrumental they have been in one way or another. I loved how you mentioned that your family makes music together, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, we do. Everybody in my family knows how to play an instrument. My dad was like very encouraging, like throughout our childhood, like trying to get us to play, and because he did a lot of music too. So he's the one who got me into clarinet. He kind of like was really pushing us all to play. And actually, at first I wanted to play trombone, but my dad was like, nope. No, you're playing clarinet. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm so glad he said that because, it was a very good choice, and I love playing. I feel very grateful to have grown up in that environment, growing up too, and being surrounded by music and learning all these different types of music. My dad, like, he always had like all these records of all these great artists and would play them for me, and like that's how I know all that I know because of him.
Shout out your dad.
Yeah, shout out Dad.
You shouted out to your dad?
I did. Shout out him to.
Shout out to your mom. She supported you to get a guitar.
True. My mom and my dad. My dad showed me a lot of good music too, now that I think about it. I remember he introduced me to the Black Keys, like in like 2008. So that was what I remember mostly from him.
Oh, and your grandma.
And my grandma, Josh Rowe, yeah.
Can't forget the grandma. If you could learn one more instrument, because I think you talked about like,
Yes,
right? Like,
yeah.
what would it be? Like,
For me, I'd have to say piano. Yeah, I would love to learn piano. And I think I will someday. I plan on doing that. So.
Say the banjo. Who has like banjos? Could never quite get the finger picking down, but
I'm just trying to learn everything at this point. I buy too many stuff and then just try to learn everything at once. So I say guitar more maybe.
No such thing as too many instruments at home.
John, do you have any other instrument you'd like to learn that you haven't really explored yet? Or?
I can make noise come out of brass instruments, but I've always wanted to actually get halfway decent at the trumpet and like be able to read the music on it instead of just making noise and make our coworkers go stop doing that. Otherwise, I usually, when people say, "Oh, what do you play?" I just say all the things you don't have to blow into.
That's fair, actually.
yeah.
I remember distinctly, actually, early when I started working here, you were taking guitar lessons with Jason for a while.
It was.
You pick it back up again or start something else?
I do have a friend that helped me to get my abandoned Martin back in shape. So it is something that I need to do, John. Absolutely. And I will not be I'm not ready for the open mic, Sophie. I don't think that I would go there, but for my own solstice and because with my lessons I was doing with Jason Bussey, I found it very therapeutic too, right? To just play and talk and strum and.
I actually do lessons with him too.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome. He's such
Great guy.
totally great. And I took piano once upon a time here.
Nice.
I got yelled at for chewing gum, so that didn't go over so well for me. But the upright bass would be, I think it's so
That would be cool.
cool.
If you do, I've definitely got one or two teachers in mind I would steer you towards.
Excellent.
So Sophie, do you have any insights with being a woman in music? Things that would be your guide, your watch out for? Because sometimes, right, it can be a little more intimidating for women to get out there in this world, especially in music or even in aspects, as mentioned, in how to book a gig and have people take us maybe as seriously.
Yeah.
Any insights, thoughts?
You know, I never really thought about that until you said that. Just go for it, like ask around, like don't be afraid.
That's great that you have not had any tripping hazards.
yeah.
Sounds like you've got a great support system with your family.
Yes.
Great support system in
Yes.
your bandmates,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that
I haven't really had any concern. Yeah.
people that you've surrounded yourself with make
Absolutely.
a difference,
Yeah.
and also the places that you choose to make sure you're playing in and how you have that. Right?
Yes.
So, back shout outs to New Moon, one of
Yeah.
our favorite family-owned coffee establishments.
Yeah, New Moon. Yeah, we had our first show there. I set that up. Yeah, that was great. I love that, and there's a really good community there too, I feel.
So that again ties back even to what you were talking about, Dee, with your hot take of like the arts and music really has to be this thing that is also like inextricably connected to opportunity and ascendancy for everybody. Otherwise, it's not community.
Pretty lucky, I feel, though, right? The greater northeastern Wisconsin is getting more understanding of the arts and trying to reinvest and have good live music scenes. And
Yeah, especially around here in the Appleton area.
It's great. She knows it's actually really
Yes.
Yeah, Mountain Music is wonderful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for spending time with us this
Yeah,
morning.
thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
We'll play a
much.
little bit, right?
Yeah, we're going to have you do some songs, and people can check you guys out right now on Instagram, Melodia_the band.
Yes.
And there will be more content to follow and more songs. And so, again, Sophie, Ben, Edson, Melodia, thank you guys so much for joining us at Heid Music. Dee, thanks for being here and bringing some amazing insight to this. And we're super excited to do this, and we look forward to hearing your music.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.